Valley Sports Bar and Grill has all the bases covered for all those things and more. Top-notch, friendly, and attentive service. Wall-to-wall big screen TVs with all the big games. And the absolute best wings in Rapid City. Valley Sports Bar. Make it your place. 1865 Valley Drive, Rapid City.
Sometimes it's just a whoops. Sometimes it's a oh no. And sometimes it's an all-out Whatever it is, J&J Truck and Auto Body can take care of it with traditional methods or paintless dent repair because they are a PPG certified and I-CAR Gold class shop with ASE certified technicians. Plus, they work with your insurance company, saving you time. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
J&J Truck and Auto Body, 100% guaranteed.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying your first home or maybe upgrading to a home that you will really love? Real estate is an important investment that you want to get right. I have been in the business of finding the right home for 15 years. To get started, contact me, David Brenneman, at 415-0044. Let's open the door to your new home and say hello to a goodbye with me, David Brenneman, at 415-0044.
All right, I think we're all ready for some football, and Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort is the place to stay and play in Deadwood. If you want to bet on the biggest games, watch the games, and also play your favorite table games and have a great dinner, Cadillac Jack's and BetMGM allows you to do it all in one place. The king of sportsbooks, BetMGM, teaming up with Cadillac Jack's from college football to the NFL. Make your plans now to experience Cadillac Jack's with BetMGM Sportsbook. How will your game play out?
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Tonight in Philadelphia, Astros and Phillies. Christian Javier on the mound for Houston. Aaron Nola pitches for Philadelphia as the Phils are up 2-1 in the best-of-7 series. Coverage on Fox 7 Eastern, first pitch 8:03 Eastern time. Looking ahead to a Game 5 on Thursday, the Astros are starting Justin Verlander in that contest. In the National Football League, Washington Commanders co-owners Dan and Tanya Snyder hired Bank of America to look into transactions that could lead them to selling the team. A team spokesperson told multiple outlets that the team is exploring all options when asked if the couple were selling the entire franchise or just minority shares of the team. Texans wide receiver Brandon Cooks didn't practice again today because of personal reasons. He's questionable for tomorrow's game against the Eagles, unhappy that he wasn't dealt prior to the trade deadline. And ESPN reports that Gonzaga has held in-person discussions with the Big 12 Conference about joining the league.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, live interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest local stories. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Hey, welcome in today. How are you? Good Wednesday afternoon. It's always a great day in the Black Hills. Glad to have you on board. South Dakota Sports Talk Show. We are live on Fox Sports Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station. Bring us up 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. Also there on FoxSportsRapidCity.com. The live stream up and running. South Dakota Sports Talk Show, the Nate Brown Show, brought to you in part by Black Hills Urgent Care, our official urgent care. When you start feeling sick, get into Black Hills Urgent Care. I just got the call from my daughter. Not feeling too well. Are we going to have to pay a visit? They always get us back up to speed. Black Hills Urgent Care, 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and on the west side, Bacon Park, Mountain View Road. Black Hills Urgent Care, the place to go to get better quicker. They're open 7 days a week. No appointment needed, but what we do is always check in online right there at bhucare.com. Before you go, you can avoid the wait in the lobby. Get right in, bhucare.com with the letter U. Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better. Getting us off on a Wednesday start. Let's get rolling. The Nate Brown Show featuring Craig Maddock tonight. East River meets West River. Let's get it started with SDPB sports broadcaster Craig Maddock in from Sioux Falls. National college football writer John Bryce pops by. Haven't heard from John for a while. We'll get him. Footballscoop.com. National writer on the way. Got to hit Vikings. Vikings 6-1. How good is this team? What about the TJ Hawkinson edition yesterday? Dustin Baker's on the way, Vikings analyst. His site, VikingsTerritory.com. Live, straight ahead, Dustin Baker on tap. Scott Pianowski joins us, World Series Game 4. He's covering it for Yahoo Sports. Major League Baseball writer Scott Pianowski tonight. And the high school football playoffs a couple of days away. Getting into the deep run now. Getting into the deep area of the high school football playoffs, semis, and getting set for the Dome here in a couple of weeks. Jason Andera on the latest in the high school football playoff run. Midcoast Sports high school football analyst. How good of a chance does Hot Springs have? Boy, I'm impressed with the physicality, their quarterback play, their running back, their offensive line. Hot Springs has looked good. They have a couple other teams to watch in the 9-man ranks. Wall, how about the Eagles? Are they going to make a run? What about Harding County Bison? The Ranchers, I like it. We'll get to Jason Andera coming up. A busy Wednesday show. Welcome you in on the studio line if you want to be a part of the program. You can voice your opinion. Yes, thought-provoking sports talk, meaningful debate. The Nate Brown Show, you can call us 720-1067, 720-1067. I always like getting your feedback, even though you disagree with me half the time. The other half you agree with, but half the time you disagree. That's okay. Also, on the Barons-Wilson text line, 720-1067. Text us on the Barons-Wilson text line, 720-1067. That's how you be a part of the program. Okay, so there's a story going around today, and since we're in our high school football playoffs, I thought I want to get to this story, and I want to get the feedback from the audience. I always like feedback here on our question of the day, so I'll start the Wednesday show with this. Imagine this, okay? We're in the high school football playoffs. I'll just bring up, it would never happen, okay? I believe that. Let's say one of our teams in the high school football playoffs, they're making a run. Let's say there was a little controversy after a game where one high school coach and the opposing high school coach of the other team, they meet at the middle of the field after the game, and what happens? A fight breaks out. Okay, just imagine that here in South Dakota, because I don't want to see it. We don't want to see it. But again, we do see an example, which is the real story out of Maryland, where there was a high school football game Friday night. The video is circulating now. It's like close to 1 million views. The football game, high school football game, here it is, okay? What should happen if you saw this in South Dakota? You know, I was trying to bring it back here. What should happen to those two teams if this high school coach and this high school coach get in a fight when they meet in the middle to, shake hands like we used to, like men, instead of being, punks and taking things over the top and the whole thing? What should happen to those two high school football teams? That's a question I want you to think about, because here's what happened with these two Maryland high school football teams. They played the game Friday. The coaches are going to the middle of the field, and in the video, I'm watching this afternoon, coaches, they meet, a little bit of words exchanged, and now we got a fight. We got the coaches getting in a fight. Now, as you watch the video, I'll explain it to you. Then kind of the teams get in there, meaning the players of these two Maryland high schools. The players get in there a little bit. They don't swing or anything. I watched it a few times this afternoon. I want to make sure we're on track here. Players kind of get in there, trying to supposedly break it up a little bit. No big melee with the teams, which I love to see, by the way, because usually it's, the adults start fighting. Now the kids are fighting. Now we got a whole mess. We got a mess anyway, but the players kind of trying to break it up, and then the video stops. Well, here's what happened about this situation in Maryland. So the decision has been made today that these two high school football teams will be disqualified from the playoffs. So these two high school football teams will be disqualified. One of the high school secondary coaches, DB coach, said he thinks this is a blanket decision not really reviewed or looked at the way it needed to be looked at. He said there's video footage that show the kids aren't fighting. It's the two coaches who got in the melee. But the two teams are disqualified from the playoffs. So that's why I bring it back to South Dakota. Here's the example. How would that be dealt with here in South Dakota? I was trying to bring a little South Dakota common sense here. We have some of it, right? We have some of it. Two high school coaches. I'm imagining. I covered a lot of high school football games over the years. Two coaches get into it. What would happen to those two teams? Would those two teams be disqualified? Or would those two coaches be, whatever you want to say, maybe let go? I mean, some people say, first infraction, you got to be careful with that stuff. This stuff is just happening too much. I mean, we got melees at all these games. It's just out of control. And so where's the accountability? Is it with the coaches, or now the teams are done? These two teams in Maryland, their coaches got into a fight, and now the teams are done. And it didn't look like the players were in the melee. I watched it. It didn't look like that. What's the right call? Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
The right call was made, Nate.
Was it?
I'll tell you why. Welcome to this world where coaches aren't, coaches, if the team wins, they're not responsible. They're only responsible when they lose. Let players go to any school every other year. Let me tell you about a deal last year, Nate. Sorry, I just got out of the hospital.
Oh, you all right? All right.
Yeah, I'll bring that up next because I'm going to give people advice.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm going to tell you about a deal last wrestling season, state championship duels. One side, you got a legend just because he's a Hall of Fame wrestler. Once he took over a varsity program, after a year or two, it's either first or second. There was a lot of BS going on in the last match. Couple matches, the kid gets slapped from Stevens. Travis King, Coach King, got a little excited, but it was cool. But the thing that impressed me most about Coach King, national champion, multiple state champion, he went over there and shook hands and didn't say a word. Okay.
Shook
hands. Nate, if you watch the end of that championship duel, there should have been a brawl.
Well,
Coach King controlled the kids.
Well, here's the thing. That's what I mean. Did. That's what I mean. You gotta be a leader. You do have to be a leader, but I don't know. I don't like punishing the kids either. This is a tough one for me.
Well, here's the deal, Nate. Quit hiring people like that.
Well, of course.
No. Look at Talib down in Texas. Okay,
right.
My brother's in the NFL. I know everything. I'm going to shoot the coach. See, this is where we're going with this. This will show these kids, hey, for the rest of my life, if I act like my foolish coach, this is what happens.
Well, I get you on that.
Forgetting the life lessons here.
It's consequences. I know. I have to talk about consequences every day. I get you on that.
I know. So you got to hold somebody responsible. This way, you hold the whole team responsible. So every kid on that football team will realize, hey, when I have a kid, don't be an idiot. When I'm a head coach, don't be an idiot.
Yeah, I know. I laugh, but
I have no sympathy.
That should be the message.
Them all out.
All right, buddy.
And let me give some advice.
Oh.
If you go into a hospital at 2 a.m. with chest pains and you throw your rank around as a sergeant major demanding things, you just might get that nurse that didn't have a lot of rank sticking a catheter. Oh, that hurt.
Okay. Good luck. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. All right. Good luck to you. We hope you're okay, man. That's one thing I will say. Two Maryland high school football coaches get into a fight after the game. Now their teams are disqualified from the playoffs. Is that the right call? That's my question today as we start. 720-1067 if you want in. I'd like to hear it because I say this is a tough one for me. I just look at it from I see it both sides. I know it's tough. I don't like straddling the fence. But I see this. Coaches are the leaders of the program. They are the leaders of the program. They went way over the line. So, does the leader of the program, ultimately, they're responsible. That program is done. The program is done. And that's what they decided today. I have a tough time with it because, again, the kids didn't get in the melee. The kids didn't have the brawl. You know why I have a tough time? Put on a lot of work, lot of effort. We tell the kids, be responsible, put in effort, hustle, compete, be here on time, be a part of the team. They did all that. I mean, I don't know all these teams, okay, but let's just say they did that. They didn't have any infraction. Their coach messes it up, and now they're done. I have a tough time with that. We tell kids, do this, and then one coach and another coach get in a fight, and now their teams are done. Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you. I don't think the team should be suspended. The kids didn't do anything. The two coaches, now, I don't know, were both coaches equally responsible? I mean,
Yeah, I watched it. It didn't look good. I mean, both of them went after each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then the two coaches should be suspended for an entire year. But the players, the assistant coaches, whoever didn't get involved, the other coaches that weren't involved in the fracas, they should get to coach that team. It's not fair to those kids to take that opportunity away. Some the seniors may never get another opportunity to play again for a championship, period. And I think that's too harsh a penalty for kids who weren't involved.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think about this and I say, why not let an assistant coach and another assistant coach take over that program? Yeah, punish the head coaches or whoever it was. I don't know if it was an assistant and a head. I don't know who they were, but punish those guys. That's what I think.
Those guys should be suspended for a year. And I also saw the video today of that Michigan State players.
Yeah, there's another one. There's another one.
That was far more egregious to me. You had 10 or 12 guys with helmets on pummeling a defenseless Michigan player without his helmet on.
Yes.
In the tunnel, and one guy was even swinging his helmet, took it off. So you do that on the street, it'd be an assault. Those players, obviously, every one of them in that video, and they had names on the back of their uniforms and numbers. So every single one of those guys should be out of football for the rest of their college career. That was
ugly.
Assault.
That was absolutely ugly.
That was an assault, and anybody that designs a tunnel where both teams come in and out of the same tunnel, you mean to tell me all these hundreds of millions of dollars these colleges have, and they can't design a tunnel system where they can both come out of a separate?
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, they should, but we can also be responsible, but apparently not. Apparently not.
Put up a partition in the middle of so they have to go on separate sides, and they can't interact with each other. You can't have that occur. A rivalry like that, and you're going in and out of the same tunnel, that's just asking for trouble.
It's a couple of times now this season. Penn State also had a little issue. Not as bad as this, but it was an issue at Michigan. All right, thanks for getting in. Appreciate it as we get going here. 720-1067 is the number. The Nate Brown Show on a Wednesday. Question of the day. Want to see how you sit? Let's update it. Let's make sure we have the updated poll. The high school football coaches. It was the coaches. Yeah, imagine that. Adults are owning it for kids these days. Oh, it never happens, does it? I mean, when's this stuff going to get reined in? I mean, if you find yourself in a fight at a youth sports game, a high school sports game, what is wrong with you? I mean, this is just out of control. And now we I guess punish the coaches. I don't know what their punishment's going to be. They haven't released that. They decided here, the schools there in Maryland decided, well, the teams are done. I assume those coaches aren't going to be rushed back anytime soon. Maybe they'll be let go. I don't know. But the teams are disqualified from the playoffs in Maryland, and I say it was a coach's fight. I'm not so sure I would disqualify the kids. When the players aren't involved and they're actually kind of there in the end, kind of trying to break it up, and there's a bunch of emotion. It's after the game. One team lost, one team won, the whole thing. We have the coaches involved trading blows, and the players get punished with this. I don't think that's a great call. I'm about accountability. The leader of the program needs to be responsible. I get it, but they should probably punish those coaches more than just like, oh, yeah, well, you're suspended for the rest of the playoffs, too. Are those guys going to be back? I don't think they should be from how it looked. 2 Maryland high school football coaches getting a fight after the game. The coaches getting a fight. Now their teams are disqualified. The school district said the teams are out. Playoffs, you're done. See, and some people say, well, that's just zero tolerance. You have to be tough in these days when there's bad instances like this. And some people say, zero tolerance, end of story. I kind of get it, but I'm going to be down that side of if the players weren't out of control, we didn't have an out-of-control scene with the players, I really hate punishing the players that put in work, the time, the effort. They could be as responsible as anybody. You could have a straight-A student, captain of the team, didn't do anything wrong in this instance, and now he's done because of his coach's actions? I'm not buying that. Neither is one of the assistant coaches that wasn't involved in the mess. He said this is a blanket decision. There's video footage that shows the kids aren't fighting. And he's basically saying this shouldn't be the case. What's your vote? 720-1067. Let's update it. Well, it's a tight one. It's a tight one. 720-1067 to the Barron's Wilson text line or right there on Twitter, at Nate Brown Show. Should you disqualify the teams for the coaches fighting or just ban the coaches? And it's changing constantly, and it's just updated. It's split down the middle. Right down the middle. 50% say yes, send a message to the whole program, disqualify the team. 50% say no, just ban those coaches that got in the fight. 50-50. We'll have to have a tiebreaker. That would be Craig Maddock, South Dakota Public Broadcasting, live from Sioux Falls. A lot of topics to hit with Craig, including our question of the day on the way.
Did you miss an interview or great segment on The Nate Brown Show? Just find The Nate Brown Show podcast and listen wherever you download your podcasts.
Have you hit a pothole or curb with your car? Does your vehicle need an adjustment or have an alignment, shock, or strut issue? Black Hills Tire is your one-stop shop for complete automotive service and repair in the Black Hills area. Trust your vehicle with no one else but Black Hills Tire. Contact Weston, Denise, and the guys at Black Hills Tire, where honesty, reliability, and safety is their top priority. Black Hills Tire voted the #1 shop for automotive repair and brake repair and tire store in the Black Hills. Ask about their free pickup and delivery. Black Hills Tire. Check them out online at blackhillstire.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 33 tonight under cloudy skies, northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Cloudy tomorrow, chance of snow, high of 41. Chance for snow tomorrow night, lows dip down to about 24. Daytime highs approaching 47 Friday under mainly sunny skies, 61 Saturday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 69.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson, McPherson Auction Company. On today's online-only auction, outstanding for quality construction equipment. That's right, for the Donovan Construction Equipment Retirement Auction at Spearfish, South Dakota. Now, we have 3 Bobcat skid steers. They're all 2016s. They're low-hour machines. All 3 are 590s. 2 of them are wheel machines. 1 of them's a track machine. 3 Cat excavators, a Cat 938G wheel loader, forklifts, approximately 12 Dodge pickups, 8 trailers, 6 storage containers. Here's a 2018 Freightliner Terex 19-ton boom truck that's like new. This is a large auction, the final retirement for Donovan Construction, Spearfish, South Dakota, selling nearly 350 lots of big equipment, closing this evening at 6 p.m. Final auction preview this afternoon from 12 noon till 4 p.m. For more details and to bid and buy, go to McPhersonAuction.com.
Danny Menholt Rapid Chevrolet is looking for a few great folks to join our team. We have immediate openings for automotive techs and body shop techs. We offer a family-owned environment, state-of-the-art equipment and facilities, tool assistance, tuition reimbursement, training, paid vacation, 401k, health, dental, and vision insurance, and of course, a very competitive salary. If you're looking for a fresh start, apply in person at Danny Menholt Rapid Chevrolet or apply online at DannyMenholtRapidChevrolet.com under the Dealer Info Employment tab.
Since the War for Independence, no foreign army has ever occupied American soil. But in this day and age, it's dangerous to assume that our enemies cannot penetrate our borders, and we cannot afford to become complacent. On Veterans Day 2022, let us salute the brave men and women who have served in our nation's armed forces, veterans across America and right here at home.
This salute to veterans is brought to you by Farm Bureau agent Tom Berger. As a veteran himself, Tom would like to thank his fellow veterans for their courage and sacrifice for our country.
Hey, Cobbler and Raider fans, you can now show your school spirit and earn money for your booster club. It's easy to get your Raider or Cobbler custom designed debit card today from Highmark Credit Union. Simply open a Highmark free basic checking account and get your Raider or Cobbler debit card. Plus, each swipe will earn money for your booster club. Show your school spirit and support the Raiders and Cobblers with a custom designed debit card. Visit HighmarkFCU.com.
Hi, this is Dan Patrick. Remember to catch me weekday mornings from 7 until 10 a.m. right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 a.m. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, back to Rapid City's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Hey, we're off and running on the Nate Brown Show on a Wednesday. Great lineup tonight for you. College football, Major League Baseball World Series, Vikings, high school football. Question of the day, we got you covered here. The Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Rapid City. Remember, if you can't catch us live all the time, 4 to 6, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We've had people check in, send messages in on the podcast. We appreciate that. You can download the Nate Brown Show podcast where you find your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon. We're out there. The Nate Brown Show podcast readily available. Craig Maddox on tonight from Sioux Falls, SDPB Sports. His podcast is In Play, interviewing sports newsmakers and some legends throughout the South Dakota sports history. In Play's the podcast. Craig, good to get you back on. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Here we go. We got state football next week, state volleyball after that. This is a great time of the year.
I do like it. I'm going to get into our high school scene here. I started my show with, I wonder what we would do with this incident that has happened in Maryland high school football. So I'll ask you, you're going to be the tiebreaker. My audience is split. Here's what happened. 2 Maryland high school football coaches, game's over. The coaches are going to shake hands. Instead of shaking hands in the middle of the field Friday night, they get into a fight. And they take each other down and the whole thing. Well, the school districts decided here in Maryland, those 2 programs are done for the rest of the season. They were getting ready for their playoffs. They're out. The coaches, they don't know what, I don't know if they're going to let them go, what's happened there. But nonetheless, the whole teams are done. I watched the video, Craig, that the players didn't have the melee. I mean, they were getting in there kind of breaking up the coaches and that whole thing. My question is, coaches get in a fight, teams get disqualified. Is that the right call?
Well, first I'd put the coaches in a cage and let them finish out what they were doing.
Oh, come on. I'm sure. Yeah, this day and age, yeah.
You know what? I would not suspend the teams. I would certainly suspend the coaches for a long period of time, not just the rest of the year. I would make it at least maybe a 1-year suspension for both coaches. But I would not penalize the teams because they really weren't involved with it. Because you got, the assistants would take over. So I would not penalize the players.
Okay, so that's interesting. I'm with you on that. I said I understand the leaders of the program have to have responsibility, and some people say, well, it just ends with them. And a lot of the approach these days is you got to take a hard line approach, Craig. Otherwise, well, this stuff's going to keep on happening. So you had this happen. Sorry, your teams are done. I kind of see that, but again, these kids, what do we tell them, Craig? Work hard, compete, be responsible, do all the right things. They could have some perfect players over on their teams, and now those kids are done? I'm not buying it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out how that all works out. But again, actions cause negative actions cause certain reactions, and here's the deal. I would certainly penalize severely the coaches, but I wouldn't take it out on the kids.
Somebody texted in and said, Nate, they should fire the coaches. The coaches should be fired.
Well, that would be a possibility too. I would have no problem with that. It'd be the one strike and you're out. Don't know if these guys have had problems in the past, but.
I mean, with something like that, Craig,
I could do that. I could do that.
I said, with something like that, the zero tolerance policy, I'm kind of okay with. I know I believe in second chances for a lot of things. I do. But, I mean, this stuff's just getting out of control. And here's 2 high school coaches now end the seasons for their teams. What do you think would happen in South Dakota? What do you think if that happened? It hasn't, but I just wonder, how would we react here?
That is a great question. I really don't think they would penalize the athletes. I think the coaches would be done.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think so.
The coaches would be done. Probably a fine to the school district. But I would think they would try to play it to finish it out.
By the way, my poll results, Craig, is 50-50 still. We're getting more votes on this as it comes in. 50% say yes, just ban the whole team, send a message. 50% say no, just ban the coaches. Kind of surprised 50% of people want to ban the teams.
Nothing on the cage match.
Nope, you're not going to win that one. You're not going to win that one. By the way, another question for you. I got into this because our Rapid City Central high school football coach, Neil Cruz, he resigns. Now the Cobblers are back at trying to find a head football coach and the whole thing. And we've talked about this on the show with my listeners, and people said we should do this better and we need to do this and all the things to try and fix Rapid City Central football. One is, we got to have our kids playing earlier. We got to have our kids being developed. We got to keep them through the middle school and the whole thing. So I had this question. Do you have to play competitive youth sports to be successful in high school? What's your answer?
I would say no, because let's face it. When and I'm not trying to put myself on this particular issue here. I had no young sports when I was a kid, but when high school started, 8th grade, that's when middle school started. That's when I started playing organized sports, and boom, I was able to play in the high school, even though I didn't have a lot of stuff going on when I was a younger kid. So I think if kids have the talent and the desire, if they're in the middle schools and they started football, I think they can be developed just fine. I don't think you have to start at 3rd grade.
Interesting.
Or 4th grade.
What about sports in general? You think, hey, some people, some guy told me here a while ago, he said, you can catch up when you get into high school. Everybody thinks you need to be playing when you're 9 and 10 years old. The good athletes, you can catch up.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
You do.
Yeah, I do. I totally agree, because let's face it, when you're 8 years old, 9 years old, you're just learning what the game is about, no matter what the game is. But really, once your body's developed, you can catch up and be a part of the game.
Craig Maddox on tonight from Sioux Falls SDPB Sports. Let's get into the high school football playoffs a touch. You said the Dome coming up very quickly. I got an eye on Hot Springs out here. How about the Hot Springs Bison?
What happened out there?
First time in the semifinals in 11B since 2014.
And they got a tough one against Elk Point Jefferson.
That's
too.
what I hear. You got an eye on that game?
I do. I have an eye on it, and I was totally shocked that it was a shutout. Even way to go, Hot Springs. Way to go. Now, I don't know much about them, but I think they know they got their hands full on a team that has been just rolling all season long. It would certainly be a huge story if they can get by Elk Point Jefferson this weekend.
Okay, Elk Point Jefferson hosting Hot Springs in the 11B semifinals, and then we have some 9-man teams out west that are trying to make it. By the way, I put out a potential schedule for Rapid City Central. I've asked you about this.
I saw it.
You saw it. Isn't that fair? I said Brookings, Mitchell, Huron. Come on.
Yes, I agree with you.
It is.
I agree with you.
Wow.
It's not going to happen, but I agree with you.
It's not going to happen.
It would be a great schedule.
Okay.
It would, no, I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, until the association comes up, well, first it's going to have to come from the coaches and the athletic directors. The advisory committee is going to have to come up with a plan that would allow teams that are not that struggle in a certain class to move down or move up in a division. It's going to have to come from the coaches and ADs. That plan is to come from them first. And right now, I do not hear any plans coming from that, because it has to come from the, let's say, the bottom up. It doesn't come from the top down. The association isn't the one that's making up the rule to say, okay, we're going to do it now this way. No, it has to come from the coaches and the athletic directors, the advisory committees. That's where it all gets started.
Come from the bottom up. I am the bottom, Craig. I mean, I am the bottom. It's coming from me.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself. You're up there, man. You're up there.
I'm trying to get it done. I just want Central to have a better schedule. Craig Maddock.
Is there a name, a popular? I was thinking about this the other day. Is there a popular former Cobbler coach who could come back to Rapid City and revive the program? A guy that played at Central, was successful at Central, a successful coach, can come back to Rapid City and revive the program.
Well, I mean, we had Kim Nelson here before. You going to let us have Kim?
Well, I don't know. He had a tough year this year with one win.
Yeah,
never
I know. Well, he might say, hey, Roosevelt, we got a tough time out here. I'll take over Central.
But I was just kind of curious, because sometimes folks think you need to bring somebody back from the alma mater. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Nebraska fans think they thought that for years, you know. That's the worst thing for them right now, is to bring somebody who played for the mighty Huskers at one time.
Last one on this, Craig. Like, if you are hiring a new coach at Central, it's a tough job. Does pay matter?
I think that it's going to have to be competitive to what other classes in that size are. Come on, school districts don't have a lot of money. They're not going to be able to go out and double the price of whatever the Sioux Falls Jefferson coach is getting, or the coach at Pierre. I think that's really tough. That you just can't do that. It's just going to have to be commensurate to what other, let's say, Class 11 AAA coaches across the state. You got to be pretty close to that.
Craig Maddock on tonight, SDPB Sports, Sioux Falls. In Play, is it getting ready to come out? Are we going to have a special dome version of In Play?
We will next Tuesday, and someone who played against two NFL quarterbacks. Not one, but two, played against two current NFL quarterbacks.
Oh.
And then the following week we'll have a special volleyball edition. A coach who admits they were absolutely awful as a player, but came on to be one of the best coaches in the state. So those two in plays coming up on SDPB.
All right, SDPB Sports. You can find them on Facebook. Also follow Craig on Twitter at Craig Maddock. Craig, good to have you, man. We'll get ready for football championships, volleyball coming up. Appreciate the time.
I hope to see you. Are you going to make it to the Dome?
I do not think so. Not think so. You know,
a special show, a Nate Brown show.
I'll watch your coverage. I mean, you just have such great coverage.
Well, I appreciate that, and I hope to see you in person soon.
All right, I appreciate that. Craig Maddock, they do a nice job on SDPB. They really have. I mean, SDPB Sports, covering the state football championships and all the state championships, really solid. Good stuff. Craig Maddock on from Sioux Falls, his podcast In Play, and he's here on the Nate Brown Show answering our question of the day and more. It's interesting. Let's get an update on the question of the day. Two high school football coaches in Maryland get in a fist fight after the game, and their teams get disqualified from the playoffs. Is that the right call, suspending the teams? 49% say yes, send a message to the teams. 51% say no, just ban the coaches involved. And I'm with that. Listener text, Nate, logic would dictate you ban whoever and whatever the problem is. You don't punish the innocent. Okay. Now that vote's getting a little, it's still close, but that's interesting. So how about the Rapid City Central situation there, the coaching? The Cobblers are going to be looking for a head coach. Craig brings up an interesting point. What about somebody that really heavily involved in Central, played there, wants to revive the program? The whole thing, the passion. You got to have passion, energy, knowledge, thick skin this day and age, time. There's a lot of factors when you're trying to get a coach at a struggling program that's, really going to take a while to get going. I said it's got to be, you got to be able to look at putting Rapid City Central in a different schedule for a couple of different reasons. A better schedule for strength of schedule and the travel, where you don't have to go 3-4 times back to Sioux Falls. So I put a impromptu schedule out there for Central. I said, what if they got to play Mitchell, Huron, Sturgis, Douglas, Spearfish, Stevens? Just run through that. Would that help the Central Cobbler football program? I absolutely believe it would. And Craig says, well, nobody's going to do that. The ADs and the coaches aren't going to bring that. My point is, you have to start looking at it. Programs like Central, there's others that have really, really struggled. They can't get back in the mix of being competitive when they keep on getting beat down. You don't get the numbers out. You can't field a better team. It's just a never-ending cycle. It's a tough job for a coach. There's just no doubt. Quick time out of the Nate Brown Show. I'm going to get into that high school football or a high school sports question again. Meaning, do you have to play youth sports to be successful in high school sports? I just threw that question out in general to the audience. Do you think you have to play youth sports to be successful in high school sports? I'll expand on that coming up. First, John Bryce is in, national college football writer for Football Scoop, getting us going next.
This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show, on FoxSportsRapidCity.com and live on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Make a great investment this Black Friday. Renewal by Anderson's awesome Black Friday event is back by popular demand. Don't wait another day. This is incredible. 20% off every window, plus a Visa gift card for up to $1,500. No money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. You don't pay a dime until 2024. Make a fantastic investment. Act fast. This incredible offer runs from Black Friday, November 25th through December 9th only. But don't wait. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Anderson's Black Friday sale is back.
Every time you play at First Gold Gaming Resort, you're locked and loaded to win your share of Deadwood's biggest giveaways. Starting with $8,600 in hot seat promo play drawings every Friday through Sunday. Saturday nights win $1,000 cash at the top of every hour from 5 till 11 p.m. And on Saturday, November 26th, it's the biggest of them all, the $18,000 Golden Cash Blast. First Gold Gaming Resort. It's where Deadwood begins and the winning never ends.
Here's what customers are saying about Anytime Auto Sales. Chris Syme, Rapid City.
Came across Anytime Auto Sales from a referral from a friend of mine. I'd gone in and met Brian and immediately felt quite comfortable, almost like a hometown feeling in a larger city, which I really hadn't come across. They've done everything from oil changes and tire rotations to a replacement of a transmission on my GMC Yukon. Now I bring all of my vehicles to them for any service work. I've referred multiple friends and family members there as well because they do a great job and I don't feel like I'm pressured into doing service work on any vehicle that is not required. I'm very happy that the friend of mine referred me to Anytime Auto Sales, and it was really nice and reassuring to find a service department. I am extremely happy with all of their work and the way that I'm treated there.
Sales and service you can trust. Anytime Auto Sales.
Anytime Auto Sales.
With 2 locations in Rapid City, Pizza Ranch is ready to serve your family. Every Wednesday is Kids Day. This is the best deal out there with the best buffet in town. One child 12 and under eats free for every regular priced adult at the Pizza Ranch Buffet Wednesdays. And don't forget their senior special every Tuesday for $8.99. The Pizza Ranch Buffet. It's all good at the Pizza Ranch with 2 locations in Rapid City. And remember, daily online specials for carryout or delivery at PizzaRanch.com.
So at Black Hills Health and Wellness Center, we have 4 chiropractors in the clinic, and our big focus is working on the musculoskeletal health of patients. We have recommended Pioneer Bank and Trust to many other locally owned businesses and friends and families that own businesses in the Black Hills. It's always organized, it's always beautiful, they're extremely courteous, extremely polite, and if something goes wrong or you need help, they are more than willing to go the distance to get that done for you. Pioneer Bank and Trust is local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding, door, and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Great to be in the Black Hills. Getting the Herd weekdays 10 to 1 on 106.7 FM and 11:50 AM. Fox Sports.
Hey, welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show tonight. Live on Fox Sports Rapid City. Glad you're a part of the program. Little Judas Priest live in Rapid City tonight. I just got that text saying, hey, Nate, are we going to see you at Judas Priest? I'm not going to make it tonight. Not going to make it, but my daughter's sick. Life calls. Life calls. Enjoy it. Judas Priest live. I'll give you a little bit here on a Wednesday program. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live with John Bryce. He's in, college football writer, footballscoop.com. He's done some great work covering Deion Sanders and getting after it this year. John D. Bryce 1 on Twitter. John, welcome back in. How are you?
Good, Nate. Always a pleasure to visit with you fine folks, and happy to be back on the show after a couple of weeks hiatus.
I'll tell you, you've been busy, man. I know that. And, you're flying here and going there. You're a busy guy. I'm going to tell you this. I saw your pieces on Deion Sanders, or at least coverage of Deion and at Football Scoop. And I find it interesting, the Deion Sanders, I don't know what you call it, maybe phenomenon of Deion Sanders coming in at Jackson State and making this program what it is. National notoriety. Game day comes there this past week. How did Deion Sanders get this going?
He already had a fabulous personal brand and was incredibly recognizable. He'd been at the forefront of a lot of multimedia ventures, from already being an NFL analyst through the years to his partnership early on with Barstool and his own podcast. And, he's very authentic. And I think I've appreciated his authenticity more as I've gotten to know him a little bit and as I've covered his program more. I think the initial the view from 30,000 feet when you're looking at Deion is, oh, man, what's this guy saying now? Is he being serious? And then when you get to know Deion and you cover his program very closely, I think there is a lot of authenticity to it. I think he does believe what he's telling those kids. He does truly believe in mentoring these kids and trying to help break some of the tough cycles that some of them are in, that some of them have grown up in. And I think he does have a lot of authenticity to him, and I think it's resonating. And look, Lane Kiffin said it today on the SEC teleconference when I was dialed into that. He said, I think Deion's a great name. I'd go hire him. He said, it used to be 2 or 3 years that it takes anywhere to turn a program around. He said, look at us. We're the transfer portal kings. He said, but imagine Deion Sanders in the transfer portal, and imagine how many kids already want to go play for him, and then you have the Deion Sanders name. And I thought that was I love Lane. I've known Lane for a long time. I love his candor. And there's a lot of similarities between Deion and Lane in terms of neither one is afraid to speak his mind.
Yeah, that's interesting. Lane Kiffin essentially saying, well, Auburn, there's an opening there. I mean, you think Auburn would look at that, Deion?
Yeah, I do. I really do. And here's one thing I can't stress enough. Deion Sanders is a very loyal Under Armour spokesperson. When he went to Jackson State, I believe Jackson State at that time was a Nike school. Jackson State is now an Under Armour school. There's a reason for that. The reason is Deion Sanders. The Auburn University athletics program already is an Under Armour school. So I can tell you for sure, in talking with people in the world of sports marketing and sports commercialization, that there's a lot of interested parties that would love to see Deion take his Under Armour brand to Auburn, which is already an Under Armour brand. And then for what Lane Kiffin said, Auburn has to recruit, and it has to recruit Atlanta, and it has to recruit Florida. Auburn's best teams have always had heavy influence from both of those areas, and Deion already recruits both of those areas incredibly well. He's a Florida native. Obviously, he's synonymous with Florida State football for what he did there. And then he's gone and gotten Travis Hunter, the former consensus 5-star, and other prospects out of the metro Atlanta area. I made this point the other day. Deion, on a roster that has technically only 63 scholarship spots, has 25 guys on that roster, a minimum of 25 guys on that roster, who either came to Jackson State from a Power 5 school, or like his son Shedeur Sanders, or like Travis Hunter, or like the wide receiver, the freshman whose name escapes me. All of those guys had committable major Power 5 scholarship offers. I mean, Travis Hunter was committed to Florida State. Shedeur Sanders had looks from South Carolina and a number of other places. And then the wide receiver was a 4-star who had like Oklahoma and Missouri and a number of Power 5 offers. He's already got multiple kids on his roster from Ole Miss. He's got multiple kids on his roster from Tennessee, multiple kids on that Jackson State roster from Alabama. So, yeah, I mean, I think Deion is real to a Power 5 program. Does it happen this year? I don't know. We've heard Arkansas's AD say he came really close to hiring Deion before he hired Sam Pittman. I think Deion's a Power 5 coach, if not this cycle, then the next.
Really interesting. Good stuff. FootballScoop.com national college football writer John Bryce on tonight. Let's go to Tennessee. Are they number one?
They are, and they've earned it. And I don't think you could really pick too many holes in the computer ratings that have Tennessee as number one. Not based on what the Volunteers have accomplished to this point. When you look at the quality of all of their victories, but particularly when you look at road wins at the defending ACC champion Pittsburgh Panthers, you look at a road win, a dominant, overwhelming road win at LSU, one of the worst home losses in that program's modern history. You look at Tennessee's then home wins against Alabama and Florida. Florida obviously has a really quality win to open its season against Utah. Alabama has the road win at Texas, which is a top 25 team, and some other quality wins, Arkansas and some others. I think Tennessee is very deserving of the number one spot, and I said it today on Nashville radio, and I'll say it here. I would end it right now. I don't think you can make an argument for anybody else in the country for Coach of the Year over Josh Heupel. I think he's the SEC Coach of the Year. I think he's the National Coach of the Year, and I don't think it's, frankly, very close.
Quite a story. It really is. Tennessee Volunteers, number one, all of a sudden, boom. And you said Heupel's been getting this thing going. I'll ask you about another coach, Mickey Joseph at Nebraska. Not a lot of people talking anymore like, well, what's Nebraska going to do? That's gotten really quiet. Trev Alberts, the AD, is kind of letting it play out here. What do you expect there in Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mickey had a chance to earn that job outright, depending on how Nebraska did. Certainly, I think that the Cornhuskers would have needed to score a significant pelt last weekend and upset a ranked Illinois team. Nebraska was not able to do that. Nebraska has hired a search firm. It's conducting background and conversations through that search firm right now. Sources have repeatedly told us. And so I think that Nebraska will make a wholesale move at the end of the season. Timing is really critical for Nebraska, Arizona State, Colorado, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Wisconsin. It's more urgent than ever before, Nate, because of the transfer portal and because of that December signing period. And so I really think these positions that are open, especially those 6 Power 5 positions, they'll be filled or close to filled by that weekend after Thanksgiving, around November 27th, Monday, November 28th. You'll see a lot of movement come to a halt in the days after that because it's just requisite. You've got that early signing period 3 weeks later. You have to get in the portal and you have to get some guys signed to have any chance for success in 2023.
How about this situation at Michigan? They've had this tunnel, and now we've had 2 incidents. Penn State got all bottlenecked in there, and now we had the Michigan State fiasco. Players, in a melee, hitting a player and stuff like this. What should happen there with Michigan State / Michigan? I was like, I have a hard time blaming the tunnel here. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm not going to blame the tunnel. Now, a lot of places, be it Tennessee, Georgia, Notre Dame, a lot of places have the team win or lose, sing the alma mater after the end of the game, and that gives the visiting team time to get off the field, whether that's going out the same end zone but separate tunnels, or whether it's at the University of Tennessee, the teams leave through completely opposite ends. Tennessee's locker room is in the north end zone. Visitors are in the south end zone, so they're headed in completely opposite directions. But there should be an adult way to handle this, and maybe it's Michigan stays on the field to sing its alma mater with the band, or it goes over and stands with the student section and allows a 2-minute grace period for the visiting team to get off the field, and then you go. But it's a bad look. It's a horrible look, especially for Michigan State. They play with an edge, and I think they feed off of that chippiness, but obviously that's just it will be one of the lasting and the singularly most disgusting image of the college football season.
Yeah, it's a bad one. I didn't like it at all, and those players involved seemingly suspended. John Bryce, national college football writer, footballscoop.com, here on the program. Last one, Notre Dame hosting Clemson. Looked like a showdown maybe at the beginning of the year. How tough of a job is this going to be for Coach Freeman and Notre Dame Saturday night?
Yeah, it's a big one, Nate. Now, Vegas obviously has installed Clemson as a less than 5-point favorite, or that's certainly where the line opened, which tells you it's expected to be a fourth-quarter game. That's fully what I expect it to be if Notre Dame doesn't turn the ball over. I'm worried about Drew Pine, the Notre Dame quarterback thrust into the starting role, who's a really gritty, gutsy, incredibly likable guy. But I'm worried about him potentially being harassed into a catastrophic turnover, especially in the first half of the game. If that does not happen, I expect Notre Dame to have a chance to win this game. And I talked to a college coach today in the SEC footprint who told me that he is picking Notre Dame for the upset. So
wow.
I've had a couple of different assistant coaches at the collegiate level reach out to me this week and say they expect Notre Dame to win. So I just don't think this is the feared Clemson team of years past.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, you know it, but I'm with you on that too. Clemson, ranked number 4 essentially in the college football playoff right now, but doesn't seem like the same Clemson. John Bryce on, John D. Bryce 1 on Twitter. Follow him. Find his work, footballscoop.com. John, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate the chance to visit with you.
Thanks for the time. John Bryce tonight on the Nate Brown Show, Fox Sports Rapid City, footballscoop.com, national writer. He's covered Deion Sanders in depth here this season with Jackson State, and I find that story really interesting. And now Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss saying today on that call with John Bryce and other reporters, yeah, Auburn essentially they should hire Deion. I would. Deion Sanders. I didn't see this one coming. Goes from high-flying, primetime, NFL Network, the whole thing. He's like old school, by the book, disciplined, trying to kind of tell the players now, you need to follow this line, this path, and this is how you're going to get where you need to get. And imagine, primetime, pretty good recruiter. Not a bad recruiter, Deion Sanders. So I don't know if Jackson State's going to be able to hang on to him. It's looking like Deion Sanders has a pretty good future ahead, Power 5, wherever that may be. What do you think? Notre Dame, Clemson Saturday night. Notre Dame's unranked. They've had a tough season, quarterback injuries, the whole thing. They played with Ohio State in that first game. Do you remember that? Go all the way back. They played with Ohio State throughout that game. And can they do that with Clemson Saturday night? It's at Notre Dame. I think that's a tight one. Vegas says Clemson by 3. I think that's a tight one Saturday night. Let's go to the Vikings. Dustin Baker's on tonight. Vikings writer, VikingsTerritory.com. What does he have to say about this Vikings team? Have you believed in the Vikings this much since when? They're 6-1. Are they the team that can make a run? Dustin Baker next.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show.
Great news from Dale's Tire and Retreading. We are now part of the Pops Tire Service Network. Same 2 locations, new name. Pops Tire is committed to the same great service that Dale's has provided Rapid City. Pops is one of the largest commercial tire and retread dealers in the country. Whatever your tire choice, make Pops your choice. We welcome this opportunity to support and grow with the Dale's Tire customers. Visit your local Pops for all your auto, light truck, commercial, and farm tire needs.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight with the lows around 33. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Chance of snow tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 41. Cloudy skies expected. Chance for snow again tomorrow night. Lows dip down to about 24. Overcast skies. A dusting of snow tomorrow. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 71.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we are committed to improving the lives of our members and bettering our communities. As your community credit union, we're here to get to know you and your unique needs. From extended service hours to the newest technology, we have you covered. Stop by any location to get started or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is member-owned, not-for-profit, and federally insured by the NCUA.
All right, sports fans, Tin Lizzy and BetMGM Sportsbook is the place for the best sports betting experience in South Dakota. That's where I go every time to watch the big game, make a play, and enjoy some great food, great service, and some awesome 4K TVs. Tin Lizzy and the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM, where you can bet on college football and the NFL. Don't miss a second of the action. What game are you betting on? Make your play at Tin Lizzy and BetMGM Sportsbook, Main Street, Deadwood.
From the kennel to the coop, whatever the season, Fleet Farm has everything to keep your animals happy and healthy. From training your pup to sit season, to mastering those retrieval skills season. From clipping your horse for competition season, to keeping the backyard birds well-fed season. And of course, loving your pets like family season. There's a reason people say, if Fleet Farm doesn't have it, you don't need it. Because we have it all. Fleet Farm, built for real life.
Hey, this is Rob Parker from The Odd Couple. Don't miss our show weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Rapid City. And now we'll send you back to Rapid City Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, welcome back in the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, rolling on a Wednesday. Glad you're part of the program. Your sports, your show. The biggest national names and local sports newsmakers all right here live. Fox Sports Rapid City. Catch the Nate Brown Show podcast if you missed some of this stuff live. If you miss any guests, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. You can get all the show right there, all the guests listed out. Listen when you can on your own time and download the Nate Brown Show podcast. You've got us. Scott Pianowski tonight from the World Series. Major League Baseball writer, Yahoo Sports. We'll talk Phillies, Astros. Did you see what happened last night? History made last night for the Phillies. And I should say Lance McCullers, the pitcher for the Astros, not so good. Scott Pianowski coming up. We'll get into it. Dustin Baker's on tonight, Vikings writer. His site, VikingsTerritory.com. Find him on Twitter at Dust Baker. The Vikings are 6-1. Dustin Baker, how are you?
Not bad. And 6-1, I should say. Even the most optimistic Vikings fans didn't see that coming.
That's right. And you're a pretty optimistic guy. I'm gonna say. So I'll throw this out. Mm-hmm. I still have people that say, yeah, the Vikings are lucky this year. They've won the close games instead of losing them. Well, that's kind of how the NFL season goes anyway. But this, have you seen a Vikings team this year that gets you excited? Is this a team that's like, okay, this feels like one of those teams. Tell me.
No, not yet, because we're conditioned as Vikings fans that when things are rocking and rolling and you feel like you have a Super Bowl team, they're demolishing teams, whether that's 2009 or 1998. So I think we're all, me especially, happy that they're finding the gritty ways to win, to eke out these thrillers. But I think every fan is waiting on one convincing butt beating, by more than 2 scores to get really excited. Because until then, it feels like all of these squeakers are, they're awesome, and we're so lucky to be 6-1. But I think everybody's just waiting on one utter domination.
Okay, classic Vikings country there. Let me ask you about this scenario, though. They made the NFC Championship with Case Keenum and a great defense. Does this feel like that type of team? Some people didn't expect that, and they played the Eagles, by the way, at Philly. That could play out again. Who knows? Does it feel like that year?
But the momentum-wise, yes, I can see them getting stronger week by week. This defense is not as good as that defense, nor will we. I don't know if we'll ever see one quite as ferocious as that defense. But yeah, the brick by brick, each win, the Miami, Arizona, it feels a little bit more convincing, and the defense is showing up, and the offense seems to be hitting some semblance of consistency. They actually scored some third-quarter touchdowns on Sunday. That was the first of the season. So yeah, there's certainly a pathway to have that 2017 kind of feeling and vibes, but it just has to keep growing right now because it hasn't been emphatic.
How big is this signing, Zadarius Smith? He was the player of the week, defensive player of the week this week. He's been a factor. Packers basically just let him go. They're on the hook for money too. How big of a signing was that for the Vikings?
Well, you can make a very convincing case that it wasn't only the Vikings' best addition, but it was the best free agent signing in the NFL, period. He kind of got labeled as a defender coming off a nasty type of injury that will turn 30, and that's what he did in September. And so I think general managers and especially Packers fans, bless their heart, just thought that he was hitting the trend of being washed, but he had different plans. And yes, he's been magnificent, and he's almost overshadowing Danielle Hunter, which is another thing none of us foreshadowed to begin with. But yeah, a tremendous addition, and it's awesome that he's committed for the next 2 years as well.
Dustin Baker on, Vikings analyst, VikingsTerritory.com, his site. Find his work there, VikingsTerritory.com. So here's the big news. T.J. Hawkinson's in, tight end, Irv Smith injury. Do you think it's a big upgrade there?
Yes, because with Irv Smith, we all thought for 4 straight off seasons that he was going to have a big breakout season, and it never happened. And this is kind of the beginning of the end for him, at least in purple clothes. I'm sure he'll go out and thrive somewhere after this season. But Hawkinson is a big deal because he's only 25, and in theory, he can be the Vikings TE1 unabashedly for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And kind of an unsung thing about his addition to the team is Justin Jefferson will be extended in the offseason, and then Adam Thielen's starting to wind down at age 32. So you need not now go get a ginormous type of WR2 name because, kind of like the Chiefs did with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, Hawkinson's going to want a lot of targets. So the Vikings can morph into one of those teams that has, the alpha male in Jefferson, and then a tight end who's targeted 10 times per game in Hawkinson, and then KJ Osborne can, mop up with WR2 duty. So I think it puts the onus on Kevin O'Connell to use this big young tight end, kind of like the Raiders do Darren Waller, the Ravens do Mark Andrews, and it's really, for a lot of us, the first time the Vikings have had a tight end who has this much upside.
Okay, what do you say when people say, well, Kirk Cousins, he's not a big tight end guy?
Well, there's always something to say about Kirk, isn't there, criticism-wise? I disagree. I mean, he used Vernon Davis in Washington, and one of Kirk's strong suits is distributing the ball all over the place. So I think it's just a matter of who he's had in the Vikings. I think he found Tyler Conklin just fine last year. So I think the criticism there is just poppycock. So yeah,
okay.
Give me Hawkinson and Cousins.
Okay, Cousins is 6-1, and you don't hear the national media say a thing. Why? What's the deal?
Well, because I don't know if you and I have ever chatted about it, but he actually played better last year. If you want to take his individual performance, he was a better quarterback last year.
Okay,
but the team aspect was not. They found bogus ways to choke away games, especially on defense in the second half. But they're not doing that this year. They got a coaching change for a reason. So this idea of quarterback record or quarterback wins has always been just tomfoolery, because Cousins is not playing as well as he did last year, but the team is 6-1, and last year at this point they were 3-4.
Yeah, that's interesting. Not catching the praise or the criticism, so to speak. But just wait, Dustin. You know this. If the Vikings lose one here, lose one there, they shouldn't. Then it automatically goes to Cousins. I mean, I'm one of those guys that's kind of out there with Kirk saying he's been good. He hasn't been the problem. Do you think Cousins can lead this team deep into the playoffs? That's the question everybody really asks.
Oh, absolutely. In 2019, when they trotted down to New Orleans and beat the Saints, and they were underdogs by 8 points, that moment, albeit one game, showed me that he has it in that body, in his DNA, to do clutch things. So kind of like Matt Stafford last year, I believe that was the plan when they kept Cousins around with this new coaching staff, is that, we can get this team, like the Rams did, surround around Stafford, who's been a career losing quarterback, but everybody loves him so much that nobody says that out loud. I think that's the plan for Cousins. You surround him with a pass-protecting offensive line for the first time in 5 years, and then this litany of weapons, and see how it goes. I mean, Super Bowls have been won like that. We talked about, Keenum almost getting there, and the Nick Foles, and I think they're fancying that idea that if Matt Stafford can do it, so can Kirk Cousins.
Really interesting Vikings season so far, 6-1. They're not catching the national attention at all. I've got them at number 4 in my power rankings, behind the Eagles. Dustin Baker on tonight, VikingsTerritory.com. Vikings analyst. Find him on Twitter at Dust Baker. Dustin, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You let me know when you want to chat again, and we'll do it up. Okay, sir?
All right. Appreciate the time. Dustin Baker on VikingsTerritory.com, live on the Nate Brown Show. Vikings analyst covers the Vikings. Find him on Twitter at Dust Baker. Yeah, so it's interesting with the Vikings. Let's just review here. Let's review. Because I do the show every day, and we talk about the Broncos, Vikings, Packers, Cowboys, the whole thing. Go back to the beginning of the year, before the season started. What did everybody say when they kept Kirk Cousins around? What did everybody say? Man, this team's just not going to be very good. Everybody said that. I didn't say that. I said, I think the Vikings are going to be fine. But, yeah, they've let us down before. I get it. My brother's been a Vikings fan his whole life, so I get it. Very intense Vikings fan, okay? I look at it and I say, people were down on them early. Oh, they should just blow this whole thing up. Do you remember that? Blow this whole thing up. They're not going to be good. This isn't a good roster. Oh, the coaching change not going to make a big difference. And it's all been flipped over, at least right now. Turned on its ear. Kevin O'Connell looks to be solid. Just a little bit better than my boy Nathaniel Hackett, maybe. Just a touch, I'm not sure. But anyway, Broncos fans, we could have had Kevin O'Connell, by the way. And we chose Nathaniel Hackett before the Vikings chose Kevin O'Connell. Nonetheless, Kevin O'Connell, Kirk Cousins, I've always said, not going to be the problem for the Vikings. Will their defense be good enough? Playing pretty well. Better than the Mike Zimmer defense the last couple of years, by far. So playing pretty well. They're kind of bend but don't break style. Vikings 6-1. Nobody's really believing in them still. And they're on the verge of making a little run. And I don't know how deep it's going to go. I get the Vikings haven't won a Super Bowl. I get that whole thing. I don't know if they're at that level, but in the NFC, it's not a great division. The NFC, it's one of those things, it's winnable. The Eagles are good. They're good. But the Vikings appear to be good. Nobody wants to say that. It's a bad thing to say, I know. Especially national media. They're kind of, you don't hear a thing about the Vikings at 6-1. I mean, nothing. Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
Yeah, whenever national media talks about the Vikings, they bring up the Pittsburgh Steelers being undefeated through 8 games and not even making the playoffs. So that's about the respect they get.
No, I don't know what it is. Yeah. When things are bad, it's Cousins. And then when things are good, it's kind of like, they're lucky. I don't know.
He's not. That's all right. I mean, as a true Vikings fan, I'm not getting excited until the final play of a Super Bowl.
Okay.
No,
all right.
I'm optimistic, but I mean, you always feel like the rug's going to be pulled out from underneath you. So I mean,
I just can't put myself there.
When they did the miracle with New Orleans that one year, And that catch, and I thought, that's it. This is our sign.
This is the
We're
season.
Going. This is it. And then next week we get blown out by Philadelphia.
Well, get ready. We might have a little Philadelphia, Minnesota. I mean, it's a long ways to go. But
I was going to talk to you about that. Do kids need to play when they're younger stuff?
Oh, yes. I want your thought on that.
I don't believe I don't think it's going to hurt them, but I think the problem is these kids start so early, they lose the enthusiasm as they get older. They don't find the drive when they're juniors and seniors. And I'm going to give you a personal story. I did not start playing organized sports junior in high school. Kids hated me because in practices, I loved it. I couldn't wait to be competitive out there.
Well, now I get what you're saying. The burnout factor. The burnout.
Yeah. I mean, these parents spend thousands and thousands of dollars to have their kid quit when they're junior in high school.
Here's the thing. You should make it fun, right? I mean, that's partly on the youth coaches. You got to make it fun instead of winning at all costs. I mean, there's a lot to it.
Who does that?
Yeah.
No, not many.
I got you on that. We see it, right? I mean, we see it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good, don't get me wrong, there's good coaches out there. But the problem is the YouTube sensation and all the video sensation, too many parents want instant fame at the age of 10.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, let them grow.
I've got my thoughts on it. I'm going to get to it. I appreciate it.
No, I'll be...
All right.
Have a good
Thanks
one.
for getting in. Thanks for. I wanted your take on that as well. The Nate Brown Show live. Vikings, how good are they? Lister text coming in. Let's see. There should be a legitimate measuring stick for the Vikings coming up. I believe they play at Buffalo next week. Yes, you are correct. You are correct. What's going to happen there? Josh Allen? Josh Allen against the Vikings? Who do I root for there? Okay, you know I'm a Broncos fan, okay? Bleed Broncos. I'm Broncos, okay? But I'm always looking at Josh Allen. I root for Josh Allen. So I've become a kind of a Bills fan when my Broncos are struggling. Don't even go there saying I root for the Bills over the Broncos. Not happening. Not happening, okay? End of story. Throw it out with yesterday's fish wrap. It's over. It's over, okay? But if the Broncos aren't a factor, I'm going for Josh Allen and the Bills. Big fan of Josh Allen, have been for a long time. Who do I root for? Vikings? I don't hate the Vikings. There's some Vikings haters out there. Like, it's weird. If you're a Broncos fan, you're supposed to hate the Vikings. And if you're a Vikings fan, you're supposed to hate the Broncos. Why is that? Because we just annoy each other here in western South Dakota? You know, it's because the Broncos have won, the Vikings haven't. We hold it over your heads. I don't hate the Vikings. Who should I root for? Bills and Josh Allen or the Vikings? I hate to tell you. I got to go with my guy. I got to go with Josh Allen. I got to go with Josh Allen over the Vikes. We'll see how good that game is. Lister text, you can't get too excited just yet. Skull. Can't get too excited just yet. No, I understand that. I'm not saying the Vikings are going to run the table here, but they're favored in a lot of games left, and they're already 6-1. The schedule's favorable. They are favored a lot. This should not be a meltdown. This should be a pretty good situation. The Vikings might have some home field in the playoffs. That's a big deal. They can hang on to this run. If Philadelphia falters at all, I think Philadelphia has a harder schedule than the Vikings left. That could be a big deal, the home field. Into the drive at 5, I want to go to this question. We just discussed it a little bit. Here's the question, okay, that I hear. You have to play sports at a younger age. You have to play some youth sports and develop and learn the game to be successful in high school. Like we say here in this town. Hey, Rapid City Central football, for example. Hey, we got to play younger, play in middle school, develop, learn the system, learn the game to be successful in high school. I've even heard it from coaches. Well, we get them here when they're freshmen, and we're starting brand new. What's the real answer to that question? I'm not just talking football. I'm talking sports in general. Should you play youth sports in order to be successful in high school sports? My answer, I'll have it for you next.
From high school to college to the pros, this is the Nate Brown Show on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid City.
Make a great investment this Black Friday. Renewal by Anderson's awesome Black Friday event is back by popular demand. Don't wait another day. This is incredible. 20% off every window, plus a Visa gift card for up to $1,500. No money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. You don't pay a dime until 2024. Make a fantastic investment. Act fast. This incredible offer runs from Black Friday, November 25th through December 9th only. But don't wait. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Anderson's Black Friday sale is back.
21. The people of the United States buried the unknown soldier. Ever since that day, Americans have set aside one day each year to remember those who rendered service to their country to defend our freedom and preserve our way of life. On Veterans Day 2022, we salute veterans across America and right here at home.
This salute to veterans is brought to you by Exit Realty Black Hills. Everyone at Exit Realty is grateful for America's veterans. Thank you, veterans, from Exit Realty in Rapid City, Deadwood, and Hot Springs.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hey sports fans, it's Rob from the Firehouse Skybox, inviting you to make us your home for the NFL this season. We really wanted Rapid City to have a premier sports bar with great service and great food, and that's why we started the Skybox. We have 35 big screens, we'll show every NFL game all season long. Plus we'll have great specials for you to join us on Monday nights, Thursday nights, and all day, of course, on Sunday. The Skybox has the best food and the best experience for NFL football. Check us out on game days, and we look forward to serving you at the Skybox above the Firehouse in downtown Rapid City.
What can Elevate Performance do for your athlete? Brandon Drum, D2 lacrosse player at Mars Hill University.
I started going to Elevate Performance for problems with my knee, and after working with Britt, he identified some other issues that helped me prevent severe injury. Elevate's strength and conditioning program also helped me perform at a much higher level. My goal was to play college lacrosse, and I am thankful for Britt and Elevate for helping me achieve that goal. Elevate worked with me on a personal level and helped mold me into a stronger athlete.
Get your athlete started at ElevatePerformanceSD.com.
Hey, it's Chris Broussard. Remember to catch the Odd Couple weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, let's get back to Rapid City Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in on a Wednesday, the Nate Brown Show. We are live, Fox Sports Rapid City. How are you? Doing all right? Midweek hitter? You're doing okay. The Drive at 5, ready to roll. South Dakota Sports Talk Show and the Drive at 5, brought to you by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned selection, they have the best selection right there. None of the high-pressure sales gimmicky stuff. Stacy and Matt get it done for you at Summit. Experience the Summit difference. SummitAutoGRP.com. Start there. Take a look. SummitAutoGRP.com right there on your phone. Car buying truly built around you. Scott Pianowski's coming up. He's covering the World Series, Yahoo Sports, Major League Baseball writer. He's going to join us live tonight. Game 4 coming up, World Series. How about the Phillies jumping all over the Astros? A record last night. That was a record. I didn't believe that. And then an interesting storyline out of that game last night with the Astros pitcher. It's really interesting. Scott Pianowski's coming up. We'll break it down. Let's go to the phones. Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
So, Nate, when it comes to, I guess, the high school coaches getting into it and punishing the rest of them, I think it's unfair to these young men that have worked through junior high and high school together, and then to have a coach ruin it for them, it shouldn't go that way. You should definitely...
I'm with you on that. We were talking about these two Maryland high school football coaches. Two coaches get in a fight. After the game, the teams are disqualified. Are you back? Sorry, I lost you for a minute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, so I think a lot of those guys are not going to be. These kids are never going to be able to play football again, and the coaches could be able to coach in the next year.
Well, let's hope not. In my opinion, let's hope not. You can't have coaches getting in a fight on the field. I mean, you just can't have it. And then we suspend the teams. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking as far as the Vikings are going. I mean, I'm definitely fired up about the tight end acquisition.
You love it.
He's a stud, and he's going to help out the team a lot. It's going to be hard to double-team Jefferson, so it's going to free up a lot of stuff going on there. But
I think that's a great pickup. I think the ceiling's high for the Vikings. I do.
I think it is, too. We're healthy. We have an offensive line that's not great, but they're good.
Not a ton of good teams in the NFC, really.
Finish strong and get home field advantage. We'll just roll the dice and see what happens.
All right, that's a Vikings fan right there. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for getting in. 720-1067 is our number. So I have this question of the Drive at 5. I want to get to this because I didn't get to this yesterday, and we had a lot of votes on the poll. We've talked about high school football here in town. How can it get better? How do the teams need to get better? How can the program get better? There's a million answers. We've touched on it. I've had coaches on. I've had your feedback, the whole thing. I've looked at it. When I'm into youth sports and high school sports and the whole thing. There's a million answers. One is people say, well, we have to have a better youth program. We have to have kids playing more and learning more and getting into the system and that whole thing. So I thought not only in football, what about this general question in our sports culture today? I'm a youth sports coach, okay? So I'm coming at it from this side. So just understand that. Do you have to play youth sports to be successful in high school sports? I mean, there's always an outlier, okay? I'm not going to say it's a blanket across the board. There's an outlier here and there. Answer that question for me. 720-1067 if you want in on the Barron's Wilson text line, or you can join us in studio. We'll try and get you on. Do you have to play youth sports to be successful in high school sports? That's my general question of the day. We had a lot of votes come in, and here's the results on this. If you have some feedback, you can let me know. 58% of the audience says, no, you do not. You can just start later and play high school sports. 58% of the audience. 42% say, yes, you should learn sports early. Yes, you should learn sports early. You know what I think that is a referendum on? I think it's saying our youth sports scene is too crazy. In general. Kids play too young. It's too intense too young. I think it's the approach in certain youth sports. By certain youth sports coaches, maybe. Maybe by certain leagues. I don't know. I'm not going to pick on anybody across the board. There are some really good programs. Some really important programs. I think kids benefit from playing sports way more than they benefit from not playing. I believe that. But I think it's a referendum on, are we doing youth sports the right way? That's 58% of the audience says, nah, you don't have to play youth sports to be good in high school sports. I know for the certain athlete, for the guy that wins everything and is just 6'4", 230, yeah, he probably doesn't need to play youth sports to be a good middle linebacker. Okay? I played with one of those guys. I played high school football with a guy who had an 11-year NFL career. It didn't matter if he played youth sports with us, which, by the way, he did, but it wouldn't have mattered. He could have started as a freshman and just tore everybody up, which he did. He was just that guy. There are only some of those folks. There are only a certain number of those folks. I think you should play youth sports to have a better chance of being better in high school. I understand the burnout piece. Again, that's the other side of the youth sports. Do we do it too much? Are we in one season or one sport too long? That whole thing. But if you do it right, and I believe this, developing kids, having fun. Are you having fun at a practice and learning something at a practice? Are you having fun in games and learning things from games, whether it's winning or losing? Adults these days, sometimes, just some, we got to win at all costs, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. That's not the youth sports that's good. That's the bad side of it. Think about the answer to that. No, you don't have to play youth sports to be better in high school. I don't buy it. You know why else? There is everybody else doing that as well. You better have a pretty good program, whether that's whatever sport it is, because this day and age, this town, Sioux Falls, they're doing it. And you're saying we don't have to have a good youth program to be competitive in high school? I think you got to have it. Everybody's doing it. Are you just going to fall behind? Well, no, we'll catch up in high school. That doesn't work. And as a matter of fact, it might be part of the reason our football programs maybe aren't as good. We lose some kids in middle school. We don't have 6th grade and 7th grade football. Trying to implement 7th grade football from what I see, but we've had football in the middle school only in 8th grade. Only in 8th grade. That doesn't help the high school programs. So my answer to that, I'm not going with the 58% of the audience. It's an interesting vote, a result. 58% say, no, you don't have to play youth sports to be successful in high school sports. I get it. I think it's two things. Well, if you're a good athlete, you can just start whenever. And, yeah, if you're in youth sports, it's a crazy scene. That's not how good you're going to be anyway, and so just forget it. You don't need to do it. There are big benefits of youth sports done well that should impact your high school ability. It really should. I think it has a better impact than, I'll just maybe try it as a freshman. Not saying you can't. I don't think you'll be as good if done well in youth sports. Back with Scott Pianowski, Major League Baseball, Yahoo Sports, a historic World Series game last night. What happened? Next.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show. Follow us and watch the show live on Twitter at Nate Brown Show.
Make a great investment this Black Friday. Renewal by Anderson's awesome Black Friday event is back by popular demand. Don't wait another day. This is incredible. 20% off every window, plus a Visa gift card for up to $1,500. No money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. You don't pay a dime until 2024. Make a fantastic investment. Act fast. This incredible offer runs from Black Friday, November 25th through December 9th only. But don't wait. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Anderson's Black Friday sale is back.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight with the lows around 33. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Chance of snow tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 41. Cloudy skies expected. Chance for snow again tomorrow night. Lows dip down to about 24. Overcast skies. A dusting of snow tomorrow. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 68.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we are committed to improving the lives of our members and bettering our communities. As your community credit union, we're here to get to know you and your unique needs. From extended service hours to the newest technology, we have you covered. Stop by any location to get started or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is member-owned, not-for-profit, and federally insured by the NCUA.
Need tires? Denny Menho Rushmore Honda will beat anyone's price on tires. Plus, give you 2-year road hazard coverage at no extra charge. And for a limited time, get up to $100 rebates on sets of 4 tires. Our experts help you get the right tires for your vehicle, and we meet or beat any price. Give you 2 years of road hazard coverage and up to a $100 rebate. That's how we roll. See us at Denny Menho Rushmore Honda or justhowweroll.com.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio, sales, service, and recreation, this is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show on the Drive at 5, brought to you by Summit Automotive Group on a Wednesday, World Series. Let's hit it with Scott Pianowski, Major League Baseball, YahooSports.com. He's on Twitter at Scott_Pianowski. Phillies get game 3. Lead the series 2-1. Historic night for the Phillies, blasting 5 homers off Lance McCullers Jr. Scott, good to have you back on. How are you?
I'm doing great, Nate. I'm glad we're talking tonight, because I feel very strongly that whoever wins tonight is going to win the World Series. Obviously, if Philadelphia wins, they have a hammerlock at 3-1. But if the Astros win, then we're back square 2-2. They do have a deeper team, and they'll have the last 2 games booked at home. So if you're anybody listening who hasn't been in on the series yet, obviously game 1 was the big one to flip. Dusty Baker was late to get Justin Verlander out of there. But I really think tonight is going to be the winner of the World Series.
Okay, interesting. What about this situation last night? Lance McCullers, first pitcher to give up 5 homers in a postseason game. He gave up 5. The discussion is he was tipping his pitches, breaking balls and fastballs. I watched the video. Do you think that's legitimate?
I do, but, they're still going to hit him, right? I mean, it's never been as hard as it is to hit Major League pitching. We know the strikeout rate is through the roof, and we know hitters have adjusted by saying, well, I'm going to probably strike out anyway. I might as well try to hit it over the fence. And the Phillies have a bunch of guys who hit the ball over the fence. Bryce Harper does that. Kyle Schwarber does that. Half the lineup does that. So to have an advantage, whether you know what pitch is coming, or it's still a huge advantage to get ahead of the count. If you look at all the different count data, if it's a 2-0 pitch, the batters get a huge advantage. That's always been traditionally true. It's still true today. So you take the edges where you can get them. And Houston, it's ironic, right? Because Houston knew what was coming a few years ago. Now, they weren't stealing the signs organically. They were doing it with things you're not supposed to do, and they were signaling, their teammates and whatnot. But it's kind of ironic that Houston would lose a game this way. But it was so lopsided. Houston didn't score anyway. That I don't think they can, it's just part of the game. If you can organically steal the signs and give them to your teammates, more power to you.
Scott Pianowski talking World Series Game 4 coming up, yahoosports.com. Astros get blasted last night. You said it, the Astros didn't score, but did Dusty Baker leave him in too long, McCullers, or not?
Oh, I think he did. And I think the game that really got away, last night wasn't going to matter probably anyway, but he was really slow to the hook with Verlander, who had nothing left in Game 1. And Houston's got such a parade of relievers. I don't think they've had anybody pitch all season who's got an ERA over 4. And the other sneaky thing is I think Dusty Baker hasn't had a good series. I think he's been slow to take out some of the guys who aren't hitting. Like Trey Mancini finally got him out of the lineup. Diaz hasn't done anything. They finally went with somebody different last night. The other sneaky little hero for Philadelphia was the rainout. When you're the weaker team, and Philadelphia's not a bad team, but they didn't win 90 games. You want bad weather, or you want, if you're playing the Eagles in the NFL, and Houston would want a bad weather game on Thursday. It gives them a better chance. In the case of Monday's rainout, it let Philadelphia, not as deep in pitching, reshuffle the deck. Houston didn't really matter. They didn't really change anything. So I'm not saying the rainout won the series for Philadelphia, but the lesser team, the team with less depth, would always like something like a rainout. And it came for Philadelphia at a perfect time. They could get everything set up, push everybody back a day, because they're not as deep as the Astros are.
Okay, I'll look at Bryce Harper, man. He started that home run onslaught last night. Bryce Harper's just been one of those guys, Scott. Huge name, huge expectations, and, I mean, he's just continuing to meet it. How big of a player are we going to think Bryce Harper is in history?
Yeah, he's a walking Hall of Famer, and you said it, so rare when a player, Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky, LeBron James, Bryce Harper, the guys who you knew about before they went pro. Bryce Harper was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, I think when he was 16 or 17, something like that. He was a catcher, actually, when he came up. They realized what a great hitter he was. Why waste him defensively? It would be more valuable to have him. Now he doesn't play the field at all, but he's a walking Hall of Famer, and the kind of player that you're going to tell your grandchildren about, the kind of player that you go to a game hoping he runs into one, he hits 500 feet, you hope you get to see him take batting practice because he might hit 15 out in a row into the upper deck. He's a spectacle. And that's, for all the talk of, I miss balls in play, and I miss stolen bases, and I miss triples, and I miss all that too. But there's something about one of the most powerful guys in the game hitting the ball 450 feet. And that's what Bryce Harper does. Not only that, but at a time where we'd like to see more personality and more color, Bryce Harper, it's all on his sleeve. You know how they're doing. You know how he did the last pitch that he swung at. He's somebody who gives you a performance, whether he strikes out or whether he hits one to the upper deck. And, we need guys like that. Baseball, we know, has a marketing problem. Bryce Harper is a marketing dream.
Okay, I'll ask you, do you keep pitching to him? I mean, he's having one of the best postseasons ever.
I'd pitch very carefully to him. I'd basically give him the Aaron Judge treatment, right? I mean, the Astros said, we're not going to let Aaron Judge beat us, and if we walk him a bunch of times, so be it, because there's a big drop-off to the rest of the lineup. So there's situations where you have to pitch to him. If you're ahead in the game, you want to throw strikes, so what if he hits one out? But I would not want to be in a situation where he gets the game when he hit. And if you have to walk him, you walk him, even if bases aren't empty. I'm not letting Bryce Harper beat me the way I wouldn't let Aaron Judge beat me because the lineup is so top-heavy. One of the things just to think about with Philadelphia, You know who doesn't want the Phillies to win? The New York Mets, because they're going to look at a division where the Nationals have won a title recently. The Braves won last year. If Philadelphia wins this year, I know the Mets have more money than a bunch of countries, and Cohen would love to spend it. Maybe he'll spend it on Judge, or maybe he'll spend it on Justin Verlander. I don't know. But the Mets are going to be embarrassed. If people in their division keep going to the World Series, it's not the New York Mets.
By the way, you said tonight's the key game, so who do you like, Scott? Who wins it tonight?
I think Houston wins a close one. I think it's 3-2 Houston, and I think the series goes 7. But Houston really does need to win tonight. And the thing with Philadelphia is they're playing with house money. They don't care that they were, 18 games worse than Houston in the regular season. They don't care. Philadelphia's a great sports town. The Eagles are undefeated. 76ers are one of the short teams favorites in the NBA. Even the hockey team, Connor Hart, their goalie, has been playing out of his mind. It's a great sports city. We know they can be kind of hard to please at times, but I think Houston wins a close one. Call it 3-2 in Game 4.
All right, Nola's on the mound for the Phillies tonight. Scott Pianowski on Major League Baseball, yahoosports.com. Scott, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Nate.
Thanks for the time. Scott Pianowski live, yahoosports.com, Major League Baseball writer covering the World Series. Good stuff tonight. Good to have him. Good to have him. Philly at home, Game 4. Philadelphia up 2-1, and they hit the most home runs off of one pitcher in Major League Baseball postseason history. That's the most in the World Series off of one pitcher and the most in the postseason in general. There's something going on. I watched this video. If you want to find it, go look. Lance McCullers last night for the Astros. Ben Verlander, who we've had on the show quite a bit, haven't been able to get him here for a couple of weeks. He's been really covering these games. Ben Verlander posted this video of Lance McCullers' windup yesterday. And he had a high leg kick, really high leg kick on a breaking ball. When a breaking ball was coming, super high leg kick. Fastball coming, lower leg kick. That's what it was when I watched the video today. And then you watch Bryce Harper blast one right away last night. The next guy he talks to in the on-deck circle, I should say in the dugout, he's saying stuff to him. He's whispering stuff to him. I catch this video. Then that guy hits a home run. Back to back. And was that just a baseball thing to you? Meaning, oh, well, it happens. 5 homers off of McCullers. Yeah, first time ever a pitcher's given up 5 homers in the Major League Baseball postseason. Yeah, it just happens. And McCullers said last night, well, I just got beat. I wasn't tipping my pitches. I just got beat. I watched it. Somebody caught it with the Phillies. The scouting, the whole thing said, look at this, watch this. This is how it's going to go. I think so. I think so. And then it was 6-0, end of story. Lance McCullers, tough one. Tipping pitches. I mean, it's really interesting. Has that never happened? Did people not catch it till last night? Do you buy it? I do when I watched it. Really high leg kick on a breaking ball, smaller leg kick on a fastball. Did he do it every time? I didn't watch every time. But you saw the breakdown, and boy, it sure seemed like the Phillies were on it last night. Coming right back with Jason Andera talking South Dakota high school football playoffs. Who are the teams that can pull off an upset? Who are the teams that are going to make a run to the Dome? Jason Andera, Midco Sports, next.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City.
Make a great investment this Black Friday. Renewal by Anderson's awesome Black Friday event is back by popular demand. Don't wait another day. This is incredible. 20% off every window, plus a Visa gift card for up to $1,500. No money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. You don't pay a dime until 2024. Make a fantastic investment. Act fast. This incredible offer runs from Black Friday, November 25th through December 9th only. But don't wait. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Anderson's Black Friday sale is back.
Insurance. We all need it to protect our homes, health, businesses, and belongings. But having adequate coverage is just the beginning. You also need the support of professionals who stand by your side to protect what's important to you. Fisher Rounds & Associates combines the coverage you want with the commitment you need. Fisher Rounds & Associates. At your service, at your side. with offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Watertown, Sioux Falls, and Rapid City.
Are you ready for new windows? Renewal by Anderson's windows are the best you can get, and their awesome Black Friday event is backed by popular demand. This is an incredible offer, and you don't have to get up early or stand in line. You don't even have to wait until Black Friday. You can book your estimate right now. Listen to this. Renewal by Anderson is giving 20% off every window. And depending on how many windows you get, you'll receive a Visa gift card for up to $1,500. Imagine getting awesome new Renewal by Anderson windows and a lot of spending cash for Christmas. It's fantastic. The financing offer is so great. No money down. No interest or payments for 18 months. Think about that. You get your new windows now, and you don't even have to make a payment until 2024. Wow. It's a very limited time offer, though. It starts on Black Friday, November 25th. It runs through December 9th. Please do not wait to book your free estimate right now. Just go to RBARapidCity.com. That's RBARapidCity.com to set up your free estimate. Renewal by Anderson. Make a great investment this Black Friday.
Don't make a bad call the next time you need an attorney. The lawyers of Claiborne, Lowson, Sabers have been serving the legal needs of clients throughout the state for over 75 years. Serious legal issues like divorce, business disputes, personal injury, and criminal matters require a solid team. When you need a win, call Claiborne, Lowson, Sabers at 721-1517. Claiborne, Lowson, Sabers, proudly supporting our area's youth and sports teams in their pursuit of excellence.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in on a Wednesday, the Nate Brown Show live, 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City. Stream us there, foxsportsrapidcity.com. A reminder, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get us to that 100 subscribers. Come on now, let's get us there. Make the YouTube channel feel, cool. I got to have a YouTube channel, so help us out. The Nate Brown Show. Subscribe. You have the show live in studio. Welcome on our YouTube stream. The Nate Brown Show. Subscribe. Got the live shows and the archive shows right there. We'd appreciate that. Jason Andera is on tonight. Midcoast Sports, high school sports analyst. He's putting his football notes together. Let's dig into the notes. Let's take a deep dive. Andera Midco on Twitter. Find him there, and he's here on the Nate Brown Show. Jason, good to have you as always. How are you?
Oh, this is a great time of year to talk to you, of course, and all the South Dakota high school football fans across the state because, we're down to 4 in every class, and you know what? There's some really good teams and some really good games coming up on Friday night.
Semifinal week. I love it, as you say, because you have a lot of games, a lot of teams to cover.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get into a story before I get into our high school football playoffs. There's a story out of Maryland today. They're getting set for their high school football playoffs, Jason. 2 high school football coaches, they play each other, Maryland high schools. After the game, video surfaces. They're going to the middle of the field. They get in a fist fight. They get in a fight, the 2 coaches. Players don't get involved. They're kind of trying to break it up. There's not a big melee with players. It's the coaches. The Maryland School District says, we're going to disqualify those teams from the playoffs. The teams. What do you think about that call? That's my question of the day. My audience thinks so far you shouldn't punish the teams, just the coaches.
Well, that's exactly my gut reaction. I mean, there's no instance I think there's a good idea to say, hey, I'm going to start throwing punches. I don't care what the other coach says, but that is inexcusable, especially at the high school level. But for the teams to have to suffer that, oh, boy, that, I mean, I just heard it from you for the first time here, my heart just sunk. Like, that's got to hurt bad for those kids. And, I definitely don't agree with that.
58% say just ban those coaches, suspend them or whatever. 42% say send a message and disqualify the teams. Kind of a closer vote than I thought. Let me ask you about this. Our high school football playoff scene, let's start at the big schools. Sioux Falls Jefferson's been untouchable. I don't expect Lincoln to put up a huge fight, but what do you see out there? You're right out there. You've seen them a lot.
Yeah, I think this Lincoln team has definitely improved through the year, but the closest game Jefferson's had all season was a 17-point win. They are rolling, and they have two of their best players back from injury coming off of last week's game, so they're even getting better. It's going to be really tough. Lincoln's going to play a perfect game to win this one.
Okay, I'll go over to the other side, Harrisburg and O'Gorman. That might be the game to watch, huh? What do you see?
Well, they played 2 weeks ago. O'Gorman came back to win 24-20. They played in the playoffs in 2019 and 2020, so very familiar with high-stakes games, and it's going to be interesting. I really like O'Gorman, but they have so many question marks right now. Their leading rusher, one of the leading rushers in the class, is very questionable, hasn't played in 2 weeks. Maverick Jones and Harrisburg is really getting together their running game with Gavin Ross, who hasn't played most of the year and now has played the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, all the trends point toward Harrisburg here, but I'll tell you what, I never count out the O'Gorman coaching staff. This is the real X factor for me is what they will design and how well they will stay in this game and how they're going to try to keep Harrisburg, under 4 touchdowns.
Talking playoff semifinals, Jason Andera on tonight. Let's break into this. Hot Springs beats Aberdeen Roncalli 28-0. I don't think anybody saw this Hot Springs team coming like this. They got my attention when they blasted St. Thomas More. I was like, St. Thomas More wasn't like outstanding, but they were good, and Hot Springs hammered them. That got my attention, and now it's like, man, Hot Springs, really good running team. They're physical. This is kind of the team that Ben Kramer's been waiting on. What do you think of Hot Springs in semifinal action?
Well, it was really fun for me because a lot of times I'll see huddle video or YouTube video, but I was on the sidelines of that game watching Hot Springs, and they took the will to play away from Roncalli, a team that had been yielding less than 5 points per game going in, and as the second half wore on, they wore out Roncalli. They did not have enough depth, and it was really fun to watch those Iverson twins and what they can do. Preston and Landon are amazing. But that's not the whole team. They've got a swarming defense that held Roncalli to 0 points. So, yes, this Hot Spring team is real. Unfortunately, Elk Point Jefferson is the real deal as well. And I just think it's going to be tough for them. They're going to be tough for them to go across the state, 2 times in 2 weeks and play a team as physical as Elk Point Jefferson. Nobody rotates more players on defense than Elk Point Jefferson in Class 11B. I mean, they just have more depth than anybody. I think they're going to give Winter a challenge next week. I think it's going to be Winter and Elk Point Jefferson.
Okay, I was wondering, and Elk Point Jefferson, I've heard they've been waiting for this group. Like he had a good team last year, but he's I was told, no, this is the team this year. Tough task for Hot Springs, I do believe. Let's go 9-man, Jason. How about 9-man? We got Wall, Hamlin. Wall's been a team to beat all season. Can they make a run to the Dome?
Some people looked at the way Wall played Bonhomme and said, oh, no, maybe they're not as high-powered attack. Well, they are. This Wall team is the best Wall team I've seen in the last decade, and they've been really good. They've made 4 semifinals in the last 6 years. They're a team that can explode. Their quarterback, Bert Blasius, is razor-sharp. Cedar Amiot, has really been protected most of the year, hasn't played most of the time because, they've been blowing out their teams. But he shined last week in their win over Bonhomme. And Hamlin's really good. Hamlin's only lost 1 game. They maybe have the most physical team of anybody I've seen in 9-man football this year. but Wall is just electric. I like the Eagles here. I think they're going to finally make it to the Dome, but it's going to be an absolute, just a physical game. This is the most physical game of the week in 9-man football.
Hardin County Bison, maybe a little bit of a surprise, Jason. Maybe. Hardin County's always been good. A little bit of a surprise here that they made a deep run of the semis. How good's this Warner team?
Warner's good. That's the other team I got to get my eyes on last week, as they scored 34 unanswered points against a really good Canastota team. They're a physical team as well, but I actually talked to head coach Kerwin Hayline of Warner today, and he told me he's a little worried about the size that Hardin County has on the outside. And if you haven't watched Hardin County play, Gage Gilbert is about 6'5" on the outside, and he is just a touchdown machine. Almost has received for 1,000 yards this year. He has just been really tough to stop, and I think that's Warner's main task, is find a way to stop Kelby Het and Gage Gilbert in that connection and see if they can get it done. But there's no cakewalks, no easy teams from here on in, so I wouldn't be shocked to see Hardin County pull something out, but I think Warner is the better team.
What did you think of Hardin County Bison, the last-second touchdown? I mean, they went down the field in 2 plays, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, that's that prevent defense thing where you're trying to keep them in front of you, and if you don't play prevent and you get burned, then people are yelling at you, and if you play prevent, people are yelling at you. So I don't know what the right call was. I just know that was amazing for them to pull off what they did in that 2-play span. Some of the best moments in high school football are happening here in the last couple of weeks. They've just been some excellent comebacks, and that's why I love high school football playoffs. But the semifinal round, maybe one of my favorites, because there's so much going on at one time.
Good stuff. Getting some picks from Jason Andera tonight as we break it down. Semifinal night coming up Friday. SD Preps, Midco Sports. Jason Andera tonight. Jason, thanks a lot, man. Have a good week.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks a lot. Jason Andera tonight. Midco Sports, high school sports analyst. He's on Twitter at Andera Midco. Here on the Nate Brown Show, Fox Sports Rapid City. Our boy Matt Kearney was on that Hardin County Bison video. If you haven't seen the video, Hardin County Bison beating Phillip on the last play of the game. And, I mean, there was 2 plays essentially within, 10 seconds. And it was a bomb down the middle, tackle, chains had to move, clock stops. They get the last play of the game off. Another bomb to the left corner, and they win it. And Matt Kearney threw that video out there. That was really interesting to watch. Hardin County Bison knocks off Phillip. Now they have Warner. Jason Andera picks Warner. He picks Warner. And he does pick the Wall Eagles. Everybody out in Wall, are you ready? Hamlin, Wall, semifinal coming up. He takes Wall and didn't give our Hot Springs Bison a chance. Didn't give them a chance. I do hear Elk Point Jefferson is the real deal. The real deal. Should be a fun one Friday night. We're back with who's hot and who's not as we get the Wednesday show wrapped up. A big-time program in college sports might be on the move next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
At Ace Steel and Recycling in Rapid City, our goal is to make recycling your materials so quick, so easy, and so profitable that you'll become a lifetime recycler. At Ace Steel and Recycling, we buy, process, and ship scrap iron, automobiles, stainless steel, and aluminum, including cans and cast. We also buy insulated wiring, as well as copper, brass, lead, batteries, zinc, and tungsten carbide. Visit acesteelusa.com or give us a call at 342-8649. Ace Steel and Recycling, 2830 Eglin Street, Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight with lows around 33. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Chance of snow tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 41. Cloudy skies expected. Chance for snow again tomorrow night. Lows dip down to about 24. Overcast skies. A dusting of snow tomorrow. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 68.
Looking for a great used truck or SUV? Denny Menho Toyota has them. Shop a great selection of half-ton trucks and SUVs, imports and domestics, brands like Ford, GMC, Subaru, Nissan, Jeep, and more. Plus, the area's best selection of used Toyotas, Toyota certified pre-owned. Buy with no money down, get financing on the spot with qualified credit. If we don't have exactly what you're looking for, we'll find it for you in our network of dealerships. See us at Denny Manhole Toyota or DennyManholeToyota.com.
With 2 locations in Rapid City, Pizza Ranch is ready to serve your family. Every Wednesday is Kids Day. This is the best deal out there with the best buffet in town. One child 12 and under eats free for every regular priced adult at the Pizza Ranch Buffet Wednesdays. And don't forget their senior special every Tuesday for $8.99. The Pizza Ranch Buffet. It's all good at the Pizza Ranch with 2 locations in Rapid City. And remember, daily online specials for carryout or delivery at PizzaRanch.com.
More than 1.5 million Americans have given their lives while wearing the uniform of one of our nation's armed services. Anyone engaged in military service must be prepared to endure hardship, suffering, even death in a time of war. Throughout our history, America's veterans have willingly made these sacrifices. On Veterans Day 2022, we salute veterans across the country and right here at home.
This Salute to Veterans is brought to you by Star Spangled Banner in Rapid City. Everyone at Star Spangled Banner is grateful for our veterans for their service and dedication to our country.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
All right, let's roll on a Wednesday with Who's Hot and Who's Not on the Nate Brown Show. Who's Hot and Who's Not, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. Pizza Ranch is the best buffet in town. You know that, right? Tonight, best time to do it, Kids Night. One child 12 and under eats free for every regular priced adult. The Pizza Ranch Buffet Wednesday. The buffet open tonight till 8. 2 locations in Rapid City. Who's hot and who's not? Let's roll with who's hot. Well, conference realignment news potentially. We see today Gonzaga potentially looking at a move to the Big 12. That one kind of surprises me. It's like, obviously, it's basketball. I mean, they don't have the football piece, and it's not a big university, anything like this. Gonzaga, been a powerhouse in hoops, an absolute powerhouse. Normally, it's fueled by football, but the Big 12 potentially looking at adding Gonzaga in our Who's Hot category. In our Who's Not, I'm going to go with this. Now, this might be controversial, but I don't think it's the right call. I don't think it's the right call. You know how Mount Rushmore has had a float to represent South Dakota in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. So we've had the float. It's South Dakota tourism. They've had the float, and it's been Mount Rushmore. And the president mascots are on the float, and they're waving. And we've been in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, I saw this, for 12 years with the Mount Rushmore float. When you think of South Dakota tourism, what is it? Great faces, great places. It's Mount Rushmore. I ask people this as I go around the country. Whoever I meet new is like, hey, have you been to Mount Rushmore? We've even asked them on this show. Mount Rushmore is being replaced in the Thanksgiving parade this year. Who's replacing Mount Rushmore to represent South Dakota? South Dakota's still buying a place in the parade. The South Dakota State Marching Band. Huh? I mean, it's okay. I like the Pride of the Dakotas. Okay? I like the Pride of the Dakotas. I like SDSU. Jackrabbits are fine. What do the Coyotes have to think about this? I mean, the Coyotes are thinking, what's going on? South Dakota State Marching Band replacing the Mount Rushmore and presidents in the South Dakota float. I don't know about that one. We're back tomorrow on the Thursday show at 4. The Nate Brown Show podcast going up tonight. Thanks for listening. The Odd Couple coming up.
Tolerance in our communities. They announced in a joint statement with the